Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening to our Cadillac Planning Commission meeting here for March 24th, 2014. We'll start first here with the Pledge of Allegiance. As everyone would join me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, we'll start with roll call, please, Mr. Adams. Wilkins? Champlin? Here. Van Lente? Smith? Here. Peterson? Here. Schichtel? Here. Gregg? Here. Finn? Here. And Putnam? Here. We have a quorum. Thank you. If everyone had a chance to look at the agenda here for March 24th, 2014, I guess for our viewers, we did not meet in January and or February of 2014. So in case you missed us, that was why. Other than that, looking for an approval for this evening's agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second. Mr. Schichtel / Mr. Smith. Roll call. Okay. Motion by Schichtel, supported by Smith to approve the agenda for tonight to be 2414 as printed. Gregg?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Schichtel?
Yes.
Champlin?
Yes.
Finn?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Wilkins? Putnam? Yes. Next on our agenda, any public comments this evening pertaining to anything not on our agenda?
About me,
Anything you want? Or nothing.
He's on our agenda.
I know, but if he has comments on anything other than what's on the agenda,
we're good.
we're good. Super. Looking for now approval of December 17th, 2013 meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second. Drew said second first.
Smith for the motion, who's supported?
Ken.
Okay, Mr. Smith.
Roll call.
Okay, motion by Smith, supported by Finn, to approve the meeting minutes of December 17th, 2013. Finn?
Yes.
Wilkins?
Yes.
Champlin?
Yes.
Schichtel?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
They're approved.
Thank you. We have no public hearings this evening. So next on our list is election of officers. Mr. Adams.
Yes, typically we normally in January, if we meet, we do have an election of officers, and so we haven't met in a couple of months, so we'll put it off until tonight. But we do need to elect a chair and a vice chair. I put on your desk a list of the current members, and you'll see on that list that John Putnam is the chair and Kevin Fent is the vice chair. I'm not telling you what to do, but there's nothing to prohibit you from electing the same officers for another term.
Jerry.
There's nothing in our bylaws that would prevent that. They always get asked that question. So you can re-elect if you so desire, obviously. And really, if you want to nominate as a slate or individually, that's really up to you. But we will need a motion and a support, and obviously a vote.
Does anybody else that wants to add those jobs?
I make a motion that John and
Kevin?
carry on.
Kevin, you got
One word.
well, you
That's
still got a voice.
but as I said, I travel a lot now, my job. And there are times I won't be able to be here, so if I'm not here and Mr. Putnam's not here, somebody else has to take it up.
What do you do in that case? Both of them are gone.
I did review the records. That's never happened.
Oh, what?
Come on, give me a...
You just,
If it did happen, what we would do is that the body, the commission would appoint
Somebody for that
someone
night.
to fill in.
All right.
That's fine, guys.
all right, I'll second the nomination from Bob.
Are there any more nominations?
What else is there?
Okay, yeah, motion by Peterson, supported by Smith, to nominate John Putnam as Chair of the Planning Commission for 2014, and to nominate Kevin Fent as Vice Chair for 2014. We'll take a vote. Shiftel?
Yes.
Fent?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Filkins?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Chandler?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Putnam.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Kevin's fine,
I will say you're a fine chair.
Mr. Chairman, the next item of business,
Yes.
I am a member of the Lions Club, so I think I should speak.
We need to make a motion on that?
Yes, it would be nice if the commission would allow Mr. Peterson to abstain from tonight, at least on this particular item.
Right. Motion. And seconded. You probably want some more.
I motion you may be excused from this vote.
Second. Smith. Roll call, please.
Okay, motion by Fent, supported by Smith, to allow Mr. Peterson to be excused from participation in voting on this particular item because he's a member of the Lions Club. Okay, Shiftel?
Yes.
Fent?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Filkins?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Champlin?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Putnam.
Yes.
Okay.
Please have a seat out front, sir. Thank you. And critique it.
Tonight's new business. We have a request to have a coin-operated telescope on City Park property by the Cadillac Area Lions Club. Having read that, do you want to start with that, Mr. Evans?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we do have two representatives of the Lions Club here tonight. One in particular that will be able to supplement a lot more than what I will be saying. Yeah, we did. We were approached by the Lions Club, in particular Mr. Anderson, who represents the Lions Club in that, asking about the possibility of erecting a coin-operated viewing telescope somewhere on the on the east side of the lake. A particular location has not been designated so far. Part of the reason is it's kind of hard to find the site snow-wise and so forth. But be somewhere most likely on the east or the northeast side. That way it would allow viewing across the lake per se. If you were to put it, for example, on the north side, because of the way the lake is configured, essentially it would really diminish potential views. So, and I'll let Mr. Anderson get into the particulars of the scope itself and so forth. Although I did, for his benefit, I did include in your packet the graphic that you gave us of the telescope, along with the various specifications that you also provided with us. It's kind of interesting. The zoning ordinance per se doesn't address this, but the zoning ordinance under the Park and Open Space District, which is what our parks are, Section 46-576 of the Cadillac zoning ordinance does provide that recreational uses include, but are not limited to, playgrounds, fishing sites, boating facilities, ball fields, parks, parkways, bike trails, docks and piers, etc., 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 and uses similar or accessory to the principal uses permitted. So staff look at this as being more or less an accessory use, accessories to the park itself. And one of the reasons I think we were able to do that is viewing telescopes are relatively common in both Michigan as well as throughout the country, and particularly in park settings. You quite often will find viewing telescopes, and quite often they'll be coin-operated viewing telescopes, as well as you'll find them on private properties as well. The ordinance goes on to say that all uses in the POS district do require planning commission approval. The ordinance is not real clear about whether or not this has to go on to the city council, but we would like to take it to city council regardless, because if this does get approved, we would be occupying public space, and typically we've asked or we've allowed the city council kind of be the final determinant, so to speak, as to whether or not a use can be placed on public property. So we're suggesting that, in fact, that be a condition that it will go to city council. Staff has reviewed this, has mentioned the specific location of the telescope, and there's a pad that will go with it. But again, that Mr. Anderson can explain, that would be approved by city council as well. We're suggesting that the telescope pad be of sufficient size, design, and placement to deter the erosion of any grass areas immediately surrounding the pad when in use by the public. In other words, we want it large enough so if you're standing on, not standing on soil. We have had some erosion issues with some of the temporary uses, for example, that are found periodically that we allow on the shoreline. Thirdly, the telescope shall be handicapped accessible and suitable for viewing by people confined to wheelchairs. One of the things the city is attempting to do, as are many communities, is to, as facilities are put into place or upgraded, make them what's called universally accessible, or basically meeting ADA standards. So if you've got a child or an adult in a wheelchair, they have the opportunity to use this equipment as well. The new playground that's going to be going over on the north side will all be ADA accessible. And again, we're trying to do this with all of the new installations. Number 5, all installation and maintenance costs shall be paid for by the Cadillac Area Alliance Club. 6, the Cadillac Area Alliance Club and any other party associated with the ownership and collection of user fees, because there will be user fees, shall provide liability insurance meeting the requirements of the city. It's a standard requirement. And then lastly, the city may require removal of the telescope and associated pad and restoration of the site at any time as determined by the city to be in the public interest. Don't envision what would happen. Let's see this number now. Mr. Chair, I would suggest that you have Mr. Anderson explain what it is they would like to do, and he's the one that can answer questions for you.
Mr. Anderson, you come forward, state your name and address for us, please.
My name's Timothy Anderson. I live at 10797 Pine Shores Drive, Cadillac, Michigan, Stoner's Lake.
Thank you. Bring us up to speed.
I'm with the Lions Club, and over the past 8 years, the need for assistance in the area has increased from $1,300 a year to over $13,000 a year for glasses. A number of agencies have cut help purchasing glasses if people can't afford it. So our fundraising opportunities need to increase. And I'm district governor this year for Lions. I travel around 16 counties covering 46 clubs. And the Arcadia Lions Club has some of the viewers on Lake Michigan. It's fairly simple. They make roughly $1,800 a year per viewer. They go around once a month and do quarters out. And it's right there overlooking the lake, and they're shut down basically because of the winter from November until April, and they still make pretty good profit off it. With this simple revenue thing, we could help more people in the area, and it's a draw to the community as well. People will come out of the shoreline to look out on the water in the surrounding area. It's a benefit to both us and the community.
I have a couple of questions. What is the ADA height? I guess I'm wondering.
51 inches.
51?
Yes. 12 inches shorter than what a standard pole would be. They came up with an ADA stand back in 1990 when the law was passed. I already talked to Tower Optical. They sent me specifications for the stand. The platform, the cement platform that we mounted to, has gone from a 4-foot round to a 5 by 6 foot square, a rectangle actually, to accommodate wheelchair access. And the Lions would handle the installation of that, and we get time to do removal of that and restoration of the ground. We opted for the 1/4 to 2/4. 1/4 buys you a minute and a half, 2/4 buy you 2.5 minutes. So for 2/4 you get 3 minutes. Or with the 1/4 fee, better deal for the public.
you look at putting it on the city dock, the one was fenced?
Well, it has to be on either a permanent cement or wooden fixture. It weighs 300 pounds. The handicap one's 200 pounds because it's different type of metal. We're trying to find a place that overlooks the lake, the best vantage point, and that's how you traffic. We'll take it across from the farmer's market because that's I walk away, people park there at lunchtime. We do have the farmer's market going on across the street. There's a lot of people around there. It'd be a good draw. There'd be a plaque affixed to the stand saying that it belongs to the Cadillac Lions Club and it's a fundraiser for the club. People would know it's money's going towards a good cause. So we maintain it. We go over once a month and then the coins out. Tower Optical comes through every May and does maintenance on systems they have. So coming through this May, if it's approved to install it for us. If they don't come through on a normal route, it's going to cost $900 per unit to have it installed. If it comes through on the right route, it's $100 for us. So we'd rather go the $100 route.
You have to have the slab ready for them when they get here?
Yes. And we'll also put one hopefully over at Lake Mitchell again with the canal. We talked to the DNR, there's already a cement slab right there, and they think that'd be a perfect spot for it. It was approved locally here in Cadillac, and also in the food chain with them.
So you just want to do one and one?
Yes. Tower Optical did their homework. They would do the visitors bureau information from the area, number of people come to the area. Profitability-wise, all around, the area can handle much through right now. If it proves out later out we need more, we'll go through for more.
Any vandalism thing, like in the ones in Arcadia, any issues with those guys?
None whatsoever. And if the Tower Optical, that's all liability, and they'll do repairs on it.
Do you lease it from them then, or do you buy one?
You're leasing 1/4 of every dollar goes back to them for a lease. So the lease price varies from location to location. Lions Insurance has an alliance with a $1 million insurance policy in any project we have. So if this is approved, I'll fill the paperwork out online, and within 5 minutes have a policy in my hand for $1 million, cover any liability done because of damage or injury, if you spend it too hard or whatever, Lions got it covered.
Does that cover city, is that minimal for the city?
It should. I guess on this side of this coin, do we have any issues, I guess, around obviously nonprofit or was everyone, so we opening the door?
Not really. We looked at that staff-wise, but for example, if you're a food vendor, like we have one there, we have had for numerous years, it's really not a lot different. This just happens to be a different kind of facility for fundraising. And this will go to my co-mayor, the city attorney, for, he was aware of it already, but for final comment, but we don't see any particular issues. You know, would it open up the door for other fundraisers, fundraising activities, possibly? But you know, we'll take those as they come. You know, we did allow the class of 1958. They installed the 6 or so historic plaques that are around the lake. Now, there aren't any dollars raised via those, but you know that was allowed. We will allow vendors to go on the lake. They have to get a permit, so. We don't see an issue.
One important thing to remember is all money raised by the Lions that comes into the community goes back out to that community. So every coin that comes in, other than the 25 cents out of the dollar, go back out to buy glasses or hearing aids for people in the Cadillac area.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. English? Good. Okay. Good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, I like the idea, you have a company that comes and serves it at halftime, and some of these can't see it. I don't know, so, well, that's good, if they come at least here, I like that.
I just have a problem with a privacy issue. In typical locations where I've seen these units, they're viewing the Mackinac Bridge, viewing on US 2, looking out at ships across. If I lived on the other side of Lake Cadillac, where people were going to be viewing into my windows in my backyard, I would have some concerns about that, and I don't know if it's I think something we need to consider.
You do have a copy of the specs, and the binocular view in this is no more than a normal pair of binoculars would be, so it...
Which everybody on the lake has.
Yeah.
Everybody on the lake has, but if somebody, I don't see too many people sitting down in the park, scanning people's houses. So this way, we are encouraged, or giving them the means to do so. So, I think it's something we need to look at. And consider. It's a worthy project, and I certainly support the Lions Club, but I think if I lived right across the lake and could telescope into the view in my backyard, I would be a little upset about it.
I was doing the same thing. I think it's wonderful that they thought of putting it out at the end of the work. And important that we're considering the second one. I was doing the same thing. But I do wonder if the people along the extended it.
Jerry, were they notified that this was?
No,
Because
there's no requirement for a public hearing and so forth. And I suppose you could look at it that, again, if you do approve this with one of the conditions, and if it became an issue, we could have them remove it. My thoughts, you can sit on a bench with a telescope or with binoculars or with a high-powered camera. And, I've done that, for example. I'm not looking into people's taking pictures of wildlife and marine craft and so forth. But,
I think every house I've been in that lives on the lake,
Right.
there's been a telescope or a pair of binoculars. They're looking at birds and stuff, but you never know what people are looking at. So I think that issue of people that live on the lake are cognizant of that whole thing, so they take precautions. But I don't know everybody in Nebraska.
I wouldn't want it across from my house.
Understood, right? Looks like sticking it at the north, it's really not across anybody's house, but, it's a little bit of playground, and it's scoping out part of the view, and I can't push it. Okay, any other comments, I guess? Very good one,
I think the residents of Cadillac around the area and the tourists would enjoy it, even if there may be window seating.
Okay, well.
But I guess it's something that we just have to be aware of, that if we live on the lake, somebody might be watching, or if there's somebody out there in a fishing boat,
Right.
not,
Yeah.
fishing. I think of that once in a while. Well, I think it would be like a tourist attraction. I spent a lot of time in the park and had an opportunity to talk to several, tourists that stop by and sit around the fountain and engage in conversation and so forth. Cadillac sure does some neat things, and they like coming here. If they're just passing by, they like to come down to the park, certainly lives. And I think this would just add to their delight.
This would have to be passed by the city council, right, Jerry, still have an opportunity to,
We could still add the other seven out there if it becomes an issue, it's got to go.
what's going to cost?
But that's already part of the city, right? We already read it in here, didn't we, that if it became a problem, the city could have it removed, right?
That's right.
It's already
If
in
it was
there.
in the public interest to remove it, they can remove it.
Right.
And that's a pretty typical condition.
Do we need to make that be part of the condition? Or
Yes,
that-
I think we should.
Okay. Is there anything else that you guys would recommend that should be in the?
I think that, the seven, the 7 items on the transmittal, I would at least, if you're of a mind to approve it, I would include all of this as conditions. And they're pretty standard conditions, they're not really unique.
I'll make the motion to approve this based on the 7 recommendations by staff.
Second? One second. Roll call, please.
Okay, motion by Smith, supported by Schichtel to recommend approval of the installation of the telescope. I should get this right, subject to the 7 conditions as detailed in the staff report. So yes is for approval of that motion. Schichtel?
Yes.
Finn?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Filkins?
Yes.
Peterson? Abstaining. Champlin?
Yes.
Gregg?
No.
And Putnam?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to hang on a little bit.
So when this comes to the city, Jerry, it's going to be, there's not going to be a public hearing or anything like that?
No.
So,
There'll probably be something in the newspaper I can
okay.
mention.
Just to get the word out a little bit, if people do have a concern.
Maybe a placard or something on it?
Yes.
Just say that and then just...
Maybe a placard indicating that it's
Lions project.
a Lions project.
Okay. We have no old business this evening.
Jerry, can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Old business, yes. The Paper Street, they pulled their application.
Right.
Any,
Yeah, that was totally pulled, so, I mean, it could come back at some point in time in the future, but it was pulled and pulled from the council agenda, so essentially it's over, you might say right now. Well, I think this will give, talk to the folks who filed the application and, don't think they wanted to create issues with their neighbors. No, it'll give them time to, if they so desire, to talk with the neighbors about this, and maybe you'll see it again someday. If they were to refile, it would have to come back here first, and then go on to council.
But they all wanted the same thing. Pretty much.
More or less, in many ways.
They won't see what they didn't want.
Right, so, but it's been pulled.
We have nothing tabled at this time. Board member comments, anybody have any comments? Joe?
I have, comment I've observed for some time, the new street signs, I call them new, but they're probably 10 years old. The blue ones, and there's some of them are green. I don't know if there's a plan to bring them all up to be the same.
There is, Joe. Each year, in fact, there'll be another batch going up this year.
Okay.
The goal is to eventually do the entire city, and they'll all be uniform, with the larger green signs. Yeah.
Another thing I've been aware of is some of the streets are spelled 2 ways. For example, I live on Ernst Street now, and I'm on the corner of Ernst and Howard. On my corner is P-O-W-E-R. On River Street, when Howard Street comes up there, P-O-W-E-R-S. And I used to live over by Kenwood School, and there's a street that's spelled H-U-S-T-O-N, and on the other end of it it's spelled H-O-U-G-H-T-O-N. And I just thought maybe it would be good to be consistent.
You did that to see if you were paying attention. You will be getting a prize. I will bring that to the attention of the Department of Public Works. And is it okay if one of them calls you?
Yeah, you can say I mentioned it, I don't care.
Yeah, okay. I won't get you in trouble, I don't. I'll probably have, I'll have one of them call you, and,
Okay.
we can explain, if you would, if you don't mind.
Yes.
And obviously, we want to make sure things
I just wondered if the GPS that causes some confusion with electronics and...
Should be the same name, so.
Lake Shore comes up funny if you put it all in one word and wants to come up. I don't think it was.
This one's what, it was Cobb or Cobbs?
Yes, that's another one.
And that one I think we dealt with in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have probably Tara or Bruce call you, so somebody will call you,
Okay,
okay?
we'll consider it done.
Thank you.
Any other board member comments? Is there anything going to be done at Lake Street or intersection of the road?
In terms of the repaving, you mean? Yeah, that's slated. I don't remember the time frame, Lindy, but it's coming up relatively soon. It's recognized as a street in need. So
That's when it's...
yeah, it's recognized as a street in need. You know, and probably this spring, you're going to see a fair number of streets with issues. I was at a conference run by the Detroit area last week, and I think it's bad here. Oh my gosh.
But we didn't have the major temperature deviation.
You're right, that's what they had. But, you know, Bruce, the Public Works Department is very well aware of the condition of various streets, and they're also looking, they know what's going to happen as soon as the weather does, and it will break. That's also a concern of council. Open development,
I was going to, my comment was going to be welcome our new member / mayor. Welcome to our board. We do find fun. So welcome.
it's also an issue of council, and they're well aware of the need for the street situation. But I'll find out when I think I have most of your emails, but I'll ask Public Works when that's slated. I'll send you guys an email. I'll let you know. I think it is too. I'll check and make sure.
It was, I was on a demonstration in the convention from last week, and it was very loud and good by every municipality up down that money was needed to help support roadworkers, and Lansing was just awful. Driving up on the cars and going five and never come out. This was a really awful.
I think we're supposed to still be running their water since we're on comments.
Right, and tell them you receive notice otherwise, keep running your water. Hopefully it will get warm eventually. But when it does, keep the water running.
Correct.
It may be,
Go up and down.
it could be sometime in April before the notice comes off. For us, it's pretty deep until it's very.
And make sure you run more than a pencil lead, because if you don't, it'll freeze up. Trust me, it will.
Oh.
$1,500.
Oh.
Yeah, on the city side, by the way, just to let you know. It wasn't money, it was jewel. My wife told me to bring that up.
I can't solve all
Okay.
the problems like that. That's right.
Anything else? No. Okay. Any more public comment?